There's a tension burning inside you, a quiet scream from beneath layers of expectations and doubts, telling you you're not like the others. You sense it clearly. Something's wrong with the story they keep telling you. That story where founders look a certain way, talk a specific language, follow a prescribed path, and somehow automatically deserve success. That story has been spun so tightly around us that it's nearly invisible, but you see through it. Maybe you don't fit the mold. Maybe you don't check the boxes they expect. And that hurts. It aches because the world keeps telling you to act a certain way, dress the part, speak with confidence you don't always feel, network with the right people, all while you carry this fire inside that just won't be tamed. It's exhausting, maddening, isolating. You watch others get the shortcuts, the nods, the early trust, and you wonder, what if this isn't about me? Maybe I'm just not what a founder is supposed to be. But here's the truth so few dare to say. The next great founder doesn't look like what you've been told a founder looks like. The next great founder might not walk into a room with a fancy title, a slick suit, or a polished pitch deck. They don't have to be loud, flashy, or follow outdated scripts. The greatest ideas come from the edges, where people break rules, where they refuse to accept old assumptions, where they burn quietly in the dark, rebuilding themselves from the ground up. You don't need permission. You don't need a sign-off from the system built to keep you small and average. The real founders are misfits, outsiders, those who've been misunderstood, not because they lack brilliance, but because the world wasn't ready for that kind of fire. You're stuck because the world is designed to make you small. Systems promise freedom, but they come with conditions hidden in fine print. They gift you comfort, but steal your soul. The rules aren't there to protect you. They are there to tame you, to shape you into something manageable and forgettable. You feel the sting of that every day, when your ideas are softened before being heard, when your passion is met with polite skepticism, when the opportunities all seem just out of reach because you aren't the right fit. It's crushing because beneath it all, you know you have something rare. But rarity is invisible without the right signals, without the right connections. You are a brilliant signal lost in a sea of noise. Here's the hard truth, and where this turns. Success for you is not about adapting to their system. It's about unapologetically building your own infrastructure. It's about finding the few people who burn like you do, who see the world not as it is, but as it should be. Not the many who play safe, but the few who create unsafe realities, because that's where progress lives. You don't win by becoming a copy. You win by becoming so distinctly yourself, so dangerous in your uniqueness, that the old system has no choice but to rearrange itself around you. This is about reclaiming sovereignty. Your will becomes the sharpest weapon you have. But sovereignty is not about isolation. It's about radical connection with those who don't bide their time or bow to old powers, but who instead break barriers and rebuild realities. You have to be selective, because not everyone is going to fuel your flame. They might want to douse it. Align only with the few who burn as fiercely as you do, who would rather risk everything than live with half a life. Through them, you build your environment, your support system, your new version of network, not the superficial kind filled with business cards and LinkedIn likes, but a brutal, honest, unwavering alliance. This alliance will teach you to question everything, not just ideas, but every rule, every accepted truth you swallowed because you thought it was safe. Safe is the enemy. To become a founder, you must unlearn safety. True freedom lives in discomfort. It grows in tension. It's the refusal to accept the illusions sold to you, the refusal to settle. You will learn to recognize when fear masquerades as reason, and when tradition is just a cage disguised as progress. The journey is long. It's slow. It's the hardest marathon you've never heard about. But eternity favors the patient who do not trip over their own impatience. Small impatient moves rarely set the world on fire, but careful, deliberate transformation? That's where real change lives. So don't rush to be noticed by the old system. Instead, build value quietly, relentlessly, with long-term vision. Let them sleep on it while you rise. You might wonder what it means to build an infrastructure for the exceptional when the world is designed to flatten to standardize, to process. It means creating a space where being misunderstood is your badge of honor, where contrast isn't a weakness, but the source of your power, where your differences don't separate but connect, where the friction between you and the few who understand creates the sparks of innovation. This is your real community. Not a crowd, not followers, but a constellation of rare and radical individuals. Together, you're not just building companies, you're building movements, rewriting realities. So stop trying to squeeze yourself into shapes that don't fit. Stop chasing acceptance from a system that is losing relevance. The next great founder isn't who you expect. Maybe it's the quiet person in the corner, the one who's been told to speak up but prefers action. Maybe it's the one who never went to the right school, never had a right job, never played the game by their rules. Maybe it's you. Take this moment to understand something urgent. Greatness doesn't come from the center. It grows from the edges, in the place where you burn with the hardest fire that no one else dares to carry. Greatness comes from those who say no to convenience and yes to transformation. Those who question everything, who refuse comfort, who choose an unknown path over a guaranteed lie. This path is abundant with resistance. It will push back harder than anything you've faced, but it will also build a version of you unbreakable by the world's illusions. Step by step, you'll learn to hold your fire steady while growing your network of fellow misfits who amplify rather than dim your light. This isn't just about startups or scaling ideas. It's about unleashing who you were born to be, a rare force that the system forgot to handle and now cannot afford to erase. The solution isn't a formula, it's a movement, one that wakes you up to your liberation through connection with the few who match your burn. They're out there. Maybe you haven't met them yet. Maybe you didn't know you needed them. But when you do, everything changes. Picture a future where your brilliance is no longer misaligned, but connected with others who see your spark clearly. Where collaboration is brutal and honest, but relentlessly supportive. Where your individuality doesn't make you a loner, but a leader. Where your story isn't a chain, but a key. That future is not a dream. It's a revolution, quietly growing in the underground spaces of the rare. It's a network, a place, a force where founders, visionaries, and builders don't wait to be allowed in, but create the rooms themselves. Your time to stop waiting and start becoming is now. And if something deep inside you is screaming, "This is what I was meant for," listen to it. Because you are done waiting. You are done playing by outdated rules that strangle your fire. You are ready to burn. Burn brighter and hotter than anyone else dares to dream. That burn lights a path not just for yourself, but for everyone who feels out of place, who has been told no, who carries a lightning bolt in their chest and has been told to hide it. You are not alone. The system forgot how to hold you, but the rare remember. When you find the few who see you, the few who burn like you transcend everything you thought was possible. You are the next great founder. The world is just not ready for you yet. But it will be. And when it is, nothing will ever be the same.